Gym class was insane. It wasn't just about fitness, it was a battlefield, a comedy show, and sometimes a test of pure survival. Whether you were a natural-born athlete or the kid praying for a fire drill, everyone had their own version of gym class trauma. Let's dive into the chaos, shall we? Before we get into anything real quick, I gotta let you guys know that I am now on Spotify. All the content on this channel will be over on Spotify, and every week I'll be doing an exclusive episode over there if you guys want to see it. And if you don't want to see it, well, just play it so I make money. Alright, thanks. It always started with warm-ups, which, let's be real, were designed to crush your soul before you even got to the actual activities. Jumping jacks, high knees, and stretches were supposed to loosen you up, but all they did was expose how out of shape everyone was. Bro, and those toe touches, forget it. If you couldn't touch your toes, gym teachers calling you out like, come on, you can do better. No, I can't. I've got the flexibility of a brick. Now we gonna run these laps or what? Come on now, boy. There was always one kid who was taking the warm-ups way too seriously, while the rest of us were doing the bare minimum. They were out here doing burpees, clapping push-ups, and running extra laps. Treating this shit like it's the Olympics. Buddy, we're in 6th grade. Come on, give it a rest. And gym teachers themselves were a special breed of humans. You either got the drill sergeant who acted like every game of kickball was a training session for the Navy SEALs, or the checked-out coach who spent his entire class session on his phone, occasionally yelling, "Don't break anything." The drill sergeant was always screaming things like, "Hustle, let's go," while you're over here trying not to pass out. They'd call you out for walking instead of running laps, and then demonstrate proper technique as if they were trying out for American Ninja Warrior. Then there was the chill teacher who didn't care what you did as long as nobody got injured. They'd sit on the bleachers, sipping coffee, barely looking up while you and your classmates turned dodgeball into Mad Max Fury Road. The absolute worst, when the gym teacher decided to join in on the games. They didn't just participate, they dominated. Okay, you're smoking 6th graders. Now, gym class wasn't just chaos. It had its own unspoken rules, especially when it came to team sports. Dodgeball, this was the great equalizer. It didn't matter if you were athletic or not, anyone could shine. It wasn't about winning, it was about survival. You're either dodging for your life or channeling your inner John Wick, taking people out one by one. And then you had basketball, which always turned into a full-blown argument. That was a foul. No, it wasn't. Meanwhile, no one actually knows the rules. And don't get me started on floor hockey. Why was everyone so unnecessarily aggressive? Someone always ended up with a bloody shin, and the goalie was either a brick wall or completely useless. No in between. And for some reason, capture the flag was the most intense sport of them all. People would risk it all, diving across the gym floor like they were in an action movie. You'd have kids forming alliances, betrayals mid-game, and that one dude who always camped by the flag like it was his life mission. Now, the Fitness Gram Pacer test, that was the bane of every student's existence. It was like the Hunger Games, but instead of fighting to the death, you were just trying to not embarrass yourself. Push-ups? Forget it. Most of us just hung there swinging back and forth while the gym teacher shouted, "Just one more, you can do it. I'm not Captain America. I'm 15. Then there was the sit and reach test, which felt like some kind of cruel joke. They'd make you sit on the floor and push this little slider forward as far as you could. Meanwhile, the flexible kid would just push it to the end like it was nothing, and the rest of us were lucky to move it an inch. The mile run? That wasn't a run. It was a slow, painful march to your own personal hell. The athletic kids finished in 6 minutes, while the rest of us were wheezing on lap 2, praying for a thunderstorm to cancel class. The locker room was where the real insanity happened. First of all, the smell.
I don't know who it is, but somebody smell like shit. Somebody motherfucking stink. we gonna tell the real nigga. Somebody smell like shit. Somebody smell like shit.
It was like a toxic combination of sweat, body spray, and despair. You'd walk in and immediately feel like you were losing brain cells from the toxins. There was always the kid who sprayed half a can of Axe body spray like it was bug repellent, the speed changer who would go from gym shorts to jeans in 10 seconds flat, and the dude who was always way too comfortable walking around half naked. And let's not forget about the lockers themselves. They were tiny, barely functional, and always seemed to have someone else's gym socks stuffed in the back. Half the time you couldn't even find your own stuff because everything was crammed in like a game of Tetris. And then there was the fights. Locker room fights weren't just arguments, they were full-blown boxing matches in a 5x5 space. One time I remember 2 dudes going at it because one of them stole the other one's towel. Like it's a fucking towel, we're throwing punches over it. It started off with some simple shoving, but then quickly evolved into fists flying. Back when I was in middle school, you always had kids screaming "World Star" whenever there was a fight about to happen.
World Star!
which is a reference to World Star Hip Hop, which is a website where they used to post like gang fights and shit. Gym teacher was always nowhere to be found. He's probably still sipping coffee in the gym. The best part is the fight ended not because someone got hurt, but because everybody wanted to get to their next class. That mattered more than winning. I think nowadays people don't say World Star, they're just like, yo, crash out, he's gonna crash out, and then that's what takes place before the fight, is that battle cry. Did y'all have that weird gym equipment too? Like the giant parachute? What was the point of that thing? I mean, I thought it was awesome. That's so many memories right there, but we'd all run underneath it like it was the greatest thing ever. What were we learning? What were we exercising? Who knows? I loved it though. And those climbing ropes, you know, no one would climb them. They just hung there year after year, taunting us. Meanwhile, gym teacher would casually say, just shimmy up to the top and ring the bell. Yeah, sure, let me just defy gravity real quick. The most chaotic but best days of gym class were the free days. They were supposed to be fun, but they always turned into an absolute circus. Half the class played basketball, a few kids tried to juggle soccer balls, and someone always ended up sword fighting with foam noodles. It was anarchy, but it was classic. And then you'd have kids who did absolutely nothing. They'd sit on the bleachers, scroll on their phones, and the rest of us were, getting hit with dodgeballs, so I guess they had the right idea. Did you guys also have the mysterious gym storage room? Like there's just a room in the gym filled with random equipment that no one ever used? It was like just a treasure trove of lost items. You'd peek in and see deflated dodgeballs, those scooter boards, half-broken hurdles, and one time I remember a kid dared another kid to sneak in that room and bring something out. The kid left the room traumatized and never said another word. I think he was touched, I don't know. No, I'm kidding. But real talk, nothing happened. He just got in trouble because they saw him on the cameras. And every now and then, gym teachers would try to mix things up by making gym class educational. You'd walk in expecting dodgeball, but instead they bust out a PowerPoint about the food pyramid or a lecture on heart rates. You know, remember when they told you how to find your pulse for the first time? They're like, okay, take your 2 fingers, put them in that area on your neck or whatever. One time we spent an entire class learning how to properly stretch. Not playing games, not running, just stretching, okay? I remember thinking, is this gym class or a yoga retreat? To make things worse, they'd test you later, like, how many ounces of water should you drink after exercising? I didn't come here to take a quiz. It's so audacious for them to put a fucking grade on students for gym class. I mean, that was just ridiculous. When we were in 6th grade, you know, running laps and playing games, and you're gonna give us a grade. And if your regular gym teacher wasn't there, if you had a substitute, yeah, it was just guaranteed chaos. Gym substitutes never knew what was going on. They'd walk in, blow a whistle for some reason, and say, yeah guys, just do whatever you normally do. Let's take attendance first. Why were there so many weird games in gym class that we only played once? Like sharks and minnows. Everyone loved it, but then it mysteriously disappeared from the rotation after 1 week. Or pickleball, which no one ever understood, but somehow became the most competitive thing we ever did. And let's not forget, capture the flag. Rules were always vague, and by the end, it just turned into a free-for-all. Someone would inevitably steal the wrong thing, like a random cone, and claim victory while the teacher just nodded, like, yeah, sure, whatever. Even the teachers would bust out a red light, green light, or something like that, which we all forgot existed until Squid Game reminded us how intense that shit can get. Despite a lot of the chaos, I have some decent memories with gym class in elementary school, middle school. I didn't have it in high school, but yeah, it was good. I didn't mind it. I assume some of you guys are in middle school right now or high school right now. What is the experience like currently? What's going on with all that? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll read some of them, respond to some of them. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. And yeah.